Expectation management has been an interesting conversation lately with a lot of people who've been watching my videos, so I thought I'd talk about it. Roll it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nikos Rentas. This is mentorsapproach.com. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe so you can keep watching the new videos that pop up each and every day, so that you can start thinking and moving in the right direction. Expectation management, a term that is thrown out all the time by people, and it's something that I'm not quite sure people understand 100%, and when they talk to me they bring up different perspectives that even confuse me sometimes. The reality of what we expect from people and what we expect from ourselves are one and the same. What is expectation management when it comes to what we expect and what other people expect? Notice how I threw both of those things around. They mean the same thing. It's how you're presenting the topic. I was talking to somebody about this, and their idea was confused between what they expect of people and what others expect of them. Should be two separate things, but it is in fact one and the same thing. I'm starting to confuse myself on that. When we compare expectation management to the real world of business, which is where this stuff has come from, we look at it from a perspective of how do we deal with our clients, with our customers. What is the expectation the customer is having on any one moment where they are spending money with whatever transaction is happening. If the transaction is based on a service, they're expecting some form of service based on what they have perceived they should be getting. On the other hand, the person offering the service has their own perceived of expectation that they will provide the client. If there is no shared understanding, that communication, well, expectations are different, and then disappointment flies in very fast. Now let's look at it from the other side. Have you ever heard of the term, the customer's always right? The customer's not always right. It's not the case, but we have developed this understanding that as time goes on, at a young age, we go to these environments like, the Kmarts and the Zellers and the Best Buys, where everything is always, the customer's always right, treat them with respect. It doesn't matter if they're spitting on you and yelling at you and all this stuff. It doesn't matter, the customer's always right. As we get older and we start going into our careers, we realize it's not really how it works, and common decency should play a part in any equation. Appreciation should play a big part in any kind of transaction such as this. So when we're looking at this management of disappointment, management of expectation, management of common decency, management of anything, these are all just words for making sure you're acting like a decent human being with one another. Have I ever fired clients? Yes, I have fired clients. Clients have jumped on board and they go, I'm committed, I want this really bad, I need this really bad, and they give up. I don't know why I did the fourth thing. That was the ending. They give up right at the moment when they should be still going, and they give up because they weren't that committed. And at the end of the day, they're getting stuck on the small things instead of looking at the big picture, how far they've gotten and where they're headed. And that appreciation isn't showing up. Well, guess what? I know at that moment that they're not going to continue in the journey they started. If somebody isn't even showing up for their regular scheduled appointments, and we see this pattern present itself, we then ask ourselves, how successful will you be? Are you still with this? Is your heart still in it? Do you appreciate the fact that you're doing what you're doing for yourself first, then for what we're doing for you? Simple economics play a role here, and we got to understand this concept. It works both ways because it's a transaction between two people. It does not matter if it's business, if it's careers, or if it's relationships. What I'm trying to say is that in the business world, we always look at it from a perspective of let's not grow the expectations too high that we can't handle, and then over deliver if we can. We always look at expectation versus what we are able to provide as that end product, that end service. A lot of people have this notion of being the yes man. I used to be one of those. And it's always, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do anything. And a lot of people will provide this idea, this mentality in a coaching session or a mentorship session or what have you. Always say yes. The reality is, yes, it's a good idea, but you can't always say yes. Sometimes some things are just not in the cards for you yet. How many times do people come to me for websites and they spend $20,000, $30,000 with somebody who only knew how to do WordPress and plugins? They didn't actually know how to code, and they were supposed to do all this programming. It never got done. Experience and time really killed this transaction that occurred. The expectations were never met. So let's bring it back now. When we're looking at the interactions that are happening between two people, we're still having this communication that must exist. And through this communication, as we talk on our expectations of whatever the business will be, the service or product, the career that we're moving into, and the new jobs we're starting, or in relationships, whether they're family, friends, personal relationships, significant others, etc., we must communicate and we must negotiate what the expectations are. Expectation management is therefore the opportunity for you to share what you are expecting and also to agree upon what the other person is expecting. It comes down to basic integrity, knowing what your values are, knowing where you're gonna stand tall and say no, and what you wanna say yes to, and of course planning out the next series of steps of where you want any one relationship, career, or business to go. By following your integrity, and I know I keep saying this over and over because it is what it is. It's integrity and your values that hold true to you. Once you can make these decisions that you're making on the integrity and your values, well, now it's easier to move forward in life because you're focused on that purpose. And when things don't go the way you were expecting them, you're not gonna feel that extreme disappointment because you already know that you're not gonna over expect. You know what you're getting. And yes, sometimes things do go off the rails, and I know somebody's gonna be like, well, Nico, like I was in this relationship with this person and this is what they did to me. They did promise me other things. Yes, but what occurred as you were moving through the relationship? Yes, they may have promised you the world at the beginning of the relationship, but did they continue to abide by those values that you set out, that integrity you stood with? Or did you become the doormat and allow them to walk all over you, and then after 3-4 years, they go, see you later, sucker, I took everything. Right? What transpired? That's what we have to look at. Our expectations and our disappointments in life are all connected, and it's all based on communication. And the reality is what we always see is based on an emotional side instead of the integrity side. What we always see is our emotions taking over on any one thing. Like buying a camera and then getting the camera and going, it's not doing what I wanted, but I thought it would. But my emotions were so high about the camera, and then when I got it, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And I was extremely disappointed. So then I went and bought another camera that I knew would do the job, but I knew that I'd wait next time until the camera came to be super pumped about it. That's just my example because it happened. Expectation management, whether we're practicing it towards other people and we're making sure that we don't provide any opportunity to make the other person feel like they're gonna over expect something, that emotion of expecting way more than we can offer, or if it's based on what you're expecting from others, from products, from services, or what you're expecting from your career. If we are able to look at both of those in the same way, where we are looking from an integrity perspective, not an emotional side, well, expectation management becomes a lot easier. And instead of having a term for it, it's just simple economics of life. Very simply put, it's an emotional side of things that we have to look at and say, hey, I'm not gonna get overexcited. I know what reality is, and this reality is giving me X amount of what I should expect. And if I don't get it, I'm not gonna be extremely disappointed, but only up to that level of what I thought was the expectation. the real expectation, not the made up one in my head. My name is Nikos Rentas. This is mentorsapproach.com. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, and of course, leave a comment below of that time you thought you were expectation managing, but it didn't work out. Because I know a lot of you have gone through it. Me too. I get the camera example, but hit a comment.
Snow again.